It's a new week. That means we've got a new episode of What If, this time with zombies. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your thoughts on the latest episode of What If. This is a spoiler review, so feel free to spoil away down below in the comment section. And if you haven't seen the episode yet, you have been warned. With that said, let's get started with the good. And let's get right to it. I just thought this was another rock solid, clever, fun twist on the MCU. And a big part of that is just the basic concept of it and how it incorporated it into the MCU and the timeline that we know was really clever. And they did it even in a way that fit really nicely into the tropes of the zombie apocalypse genre while lining it up with how the timeline of Ant-Man and the Wasp and Infinity War and the events of the movie Infinity War play out. And so it just fit right in with the MCU and had all these Easter eggs to those movies that we know. While, if you're familiar with the zombie apocalypse genre, you know the beats that you're supposed to get, the false hope, the sacrifices, the person that sacrificed themselves but then returned as the zombie at just the wrong moment. All of the stuff you're supposed to get. And it just fit together so perfectly with the story that we got. So breaking that down a little bit more specifically, going into this one, I was worried like what are they gonna, how are they gonna say that a zombie apocalypse started inside of the MCU? Like, how could you possibly do that? What would be the context? And then they go, and the episode starts, and like we're right at the beginning of Infinity War. Like, okay, this is the movie. How is this gonna work? And then they give you the backstory. What was right before this? Ant-Man and the Wasp. These two movies that kind of overlap a little bit in their timeline, and then you immediately go, yeah, you had someone going into this weird quantum realm with weird creatures and weird. Okay, like that's a plausible explanation as to how we would end up in the zombie genre inside of the MCU. I was like, that's pretty smart. That's pretty clever. And at the same time, because the events of, and even the point of reference character using Banner, dropping into the middle of it, what's one of the tropes of the zombie apocalypse genre is this person that fell asleep, left the planet, something happened to where they're checked out, and then they wake up, they appear once the world has been destroyed. That's the plot of Walking Dead. Rick wakes up 30 days later. That's the plot of 28 Days Later. They wake up, and then you're in the middle of it all. And they found a way to do that through Infinity War. That's just really smart and clever. And because of Ant-Man and the Wasp, like these pieces just fit in a way that I was not expecting the pieces to fit this nicely and have it make sense. Likewise, one of the big tropes of the zombie apocalypse genre is that our characters are trying to get somewhere that they think that's where hope is at. They think if we get here, we'll be safe. If we get here, this will mean we've succeeded. So, in the context of this, what's the most advanced place that both has research as well as shields? Wakanda. So they're trying to get to Wakanda. In Infinity War, where is Thanos headed? That same spot. And therefore, you're watching it the whole time. I was thinking, Thanos is going to come back, isn't he? Thanos is going to come back. You can't have a zombie apocalypse story that ends happy. And then what's our little twist ending? Thanos, zombie Thanos, with a filled out Infinity Gauntlet because they're taking Vision's Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone, to Wakanda. It's just all the pieces fit so nicely together remarkably clever writing. I think several of the previous episodes have clever twists and ideas of like with the what if of how to turn this thing on its head. This one was clever in that as a zombie story, it hits all the beats, it follows the formula, and the cleverness was that they found a way to just take that formula change this one detail in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and suddenly the formula fits right on top of it. You even have the one of like we were trying to get to someplace for safety, and then you find out that the place you thought was safe was actually bad because the human or human-like person there is actually doing something evil. Like, these are all the tropes of the zombie apocalypse genre. They took all of them and they fit them so nicely in an interesting way that it was pretty impressive. Like how they were able to make all of this fit while having zombie Avengers and heroes and all sorts of fun, wacky stuff taking place. So I thought it was, what if? I was never really skeptical, but I kind of felt like it was a novelty, a gimmick show. Like, yeah, I mean, give or take, whatever, who really cares? Because they're just these random little stories. And that's not really to diminish that they're fun and enjoyable, but they're just novelties. And they really feel like so much more than that. They're telling stories with actual emotional weight that are really clever. They're doing things that obviously you can't really do in the main MCU. And so while they are these standalone little tales, they're doing a great job with them. I think they're really doing a good job with it. So, all throughout the entire thing, they found all sorts of clever little moments. Whether if you've got Wasp alive, what's all the fun stuff you can do with Wasp? Wasp shrinks down, goes inside a zombie, and expands and blows the person up. She goes gigantic, smashes people. Hulk is in the story, so Hulk finally comes out. A call back to Infinity War and the fact that Hulk won't come out. He just starts throwing guys down, tearing people to pieces. You want to see Bucky and Captain America. Like, there's all these little things that you want to see, and you do. Even Happy gets in on the action with a glove and does very Happy type stuff, making sound effects. You get Peter Parker with still his jolly, joyful personality and references to movies constantly, and thus he's the guy that's self-aware of being in a horror movie and letting them. All of it just felt right. It just felt like what you wanted to do there. I had a couple nitpicks on it, so let's kind of move on to the bad. And I think just in general, there's some be able to take that formula of the zombie apocalypse and trying to get the place of hope, and then all the twists and turns and fitting that onto Infinity War. All of it also in 30 minutes, so doing it very quickly. Felt like they had to cheat a couple plot points. There's a few things that you got to go, okay, questions that you'd still have, like, okay, how do all of these people end up in the same place at the same time if they would have been spread out? And as they're traveling, they're taking a train that leads them right to a military base, and then they run out of fuel, but they have to walk around. Like, even just the logistics of how some of it worked, it was like, I don't even understand exactly how this was supposed to work or what they thought was going to happen here. Just a little bit of kind of logical kind of things inside of it. Even, there's a fun bit about, Paul Rudd's head living in a jar. Then immediately you go, what on earth does that even mean? What is the fuel keeping his head fresh and lively? Oh, how does he eat anything? There's like common sense stuff of like how talking works, and you go, that's a fun bit that could, was a twist. Oh, he's actually alive, and there's hope that there's a cure. But wait, does this make any sense whatsoever? So a few things like that were just kind of like that to make the story fit or to have a gag. Felt like they cheated the writing, which is frustrating when you have such a clever concept, but then on some of the little details, feels like you're cheating. So, pretty minor, not really terribly important. Love that we're getting these weird, wacky stories, and that they're really doing them well, putting a lot of time into them, and having clever concepts and executing them in interesting ways that actually incorporates into the MCU. And, I mean, just stop and think about this. We have a zombie apocalypse story starring the Avengers. We have that. It exists now. And just trying to imagine me back 10 years ago, 13 years ago, when Iron Man came out, and he told me, 13 years from now, actually, there's going to be this huge Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're going to do a 30-minute mini movie, basically, that's a zombie apocalypse film starring the full cast of all of these Marvel movies. What? No, really? What? And we have it. Boom. right there. Watch it anytime I want. My kids are spoiled with all this amazing Marvel content that they're getting to grow up with. Fun times. It's a fun time to be alive. Besides, you know, the world, you know, being in chaos. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments section. What did you think about the episode? Feel free to spoil away. I can't wait for next week. Keep talking movies and TV too much.